In this video, we'll see how to solve proportions. In a proportion, the cross products are equal. What's a proportion? Proportion is when two ratios are equal to each other. When two ratios are equal to each other, their cross products are equal. So what that means is if I multiply the numbers across, 12 and 10, 12 times 10, on one side, and the numbers across 4 and 30 on the other side, the multiplication on the left will equal the answer on the right. So products should be equal in the proportion. 12 times 10 is 120. 4 times 30 is 120. So in the proportion, the cross product, the multiplication of the numbers across, are equal to each other. So I have a ratio, -7/24, and that equals to another ratio, -3.5 divided by 12. Two ratios equal to each other are a proportion. So if I cross multiply -7 times 12 on one side, that has to equal -3.5 multiplied by 24 on the other side. So the multiplication of the numbers across, that's what's called cross product. -7 times 12 would be -84. And then 24 multiplied by -3.5 will be negative, and that would be 84. We can prove that. 5 times 4, 20. 5 times 2, 10. 2 more, 12. 3 times 4, 12. 3 times 2, and 1 more, 7. Add and place the decimal, and that is 84 as well. Negative times positive, -84. So the multiplication of the numbers across equal to each other. We will use cross products in order to solve for the unknown variable in the proportion. So in our proportion, I have 2 and 4 across, and 8 and x across. So the unknown variable can be solved by using the cross product and setting up an equation. So across, we have 8 and x. The other way across, we have 2 and 4. Cross multiply, I like to multiply across the number with the variable first. And then 2 times 4. And that is creating a new equation. So a proportion is an equation using the cross products. 8 times x on one side and 2 times 4 on the other is an equation that now can be solved. Multiply 2 times 4, that's 8, divide by 8, and the x value will be 1. Let's solve for x another example. I have 20 going across with x and 5 going across with 12. To use cross products, we can set up an equation by multiplying 20 times x on one side and 5 times 12 on the other. 20x bring down, multiply 5 times 12, which is 60. Divided by 20, x will be 3. Let's see a few more examples. another proportion. X going with 4 across, negative 2 with 10 across. We can set up the equation even within the proportion. I like to multiply my variable first, no matter where it is. I spot it and look at the number across, and then on the right side the numbers. But essentially it doesn't matter either way. So 4 going across with x, that's 4x. 10 going across with negative 2. So what is important is on one side of the equation you multiply the numbers across, and on the other side the other two. So 4x come down, negative 20, positive times negative, dividing by 4 gives us the solution negative 5, because negative divided by positive is negative. Another situation where the variable is, I spot the variable, that's my goal to find, and then it is cross multiplied with negative 9, so negative 9x, and then 6 and negative 3 are multiplied on the other side. Bring down negative 9x, multiply positive times negative, that would be negative 18. Divide by negative 9, inverse operation of multiplication. Negative divided by negative will be positive 2. So the x value, positive 2. Same concept is used when we have expressions as well. In this proportion, now I have x minus 1, which is an expression, going across with 2, and then 5 is going across with 8. So when I multiply in this situation, the expression must be in parentheses. So when I multiply 2 times x minus 1, I have to include the expression in parentheses. And on the other side, 5 will be multiplied by 8. So to create this equation, I have to multiply 2 with the expression x minus 1, and 5 times 8 on the other side. In the proportion, the cross products are equal, and if it's a product of an expression and a number, you must put it in parentheses, because when we multiply, we have to multiply both terms, which is called distributive property. So first step would be to distribute. 2 times x is 2x, minus 2 times 1, 2, equals 40. In order to solve, now we use inverse operations, plus 2 on both sides. Bring down to x, 40 plus 2, 42. Dividing by 2 gives us the value of the variable 21. Let's see another example with expression involved. So first, by looking at the proportion, we look across and we notice an expression, x plus 10. X plus 10 is multiplied by 3, and then 8 and 9 on the other side. So when we use the cross product and we have an expression involved, remember to make sure you put the expression in parentheses, because by multiplying it by 3, we have to multiply both terms. So that means 3 is going to be multiplied by x plus 10. The other way across, we have 8 and 9 multiplied. Distributive property, 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 10, 30, plus 30, 7 times 9, 8 times 9, I'm sorry, 72. Inverse operations, subtract 30 on both sides. Bring down the 3x, 72 minus 30 would be 42. Divide by 3 in order to solve for x, which is going to be 14. another proportion with expression where 3 is multiplied by x plus 2. And by looking at the other way across, I see 9 multiplied by x. When we cross multiply, that will create an equation with variables on both sides. So 9 being multiplied by x on one side of the equation, and then 3 being multiplied by expression x plus 2 on the other side of the equation, creates an equation with variables on both sides. Distributive property first. 9x will equal 3 times x, which is 3x, and then plus 6. Now we have variables on both sides, so I'm going to subtract the 3x from the right and left. Constant comes down. 6x is multiplication. Inverse operation is division. Dividing by 6 gives me the value of the variable 1. The starting point is exactly the same. We're using the cross product, and then we solve the equation. This equation had variables on both sides, so the goal is to get the variable on one side of the equation, constant on the other, and then solve for the variable. Across, one way we have x plus 5, which is an expression, so we have to include it in parentheses. The other way across we have x minus 7 and 5, where x minus 7 is an expression. So we are going to still use our cross product and make sure that we multiply across the expression in parentheses, and then 5 multiplied by x minus 7 on the other side. That creates again an equation with variables on both sides, and distributive property goes first. So 2 times x will be 2x plus 2 times 5, 10. 5 times x would be 5x and minus 35. So we multiply the number outside by each term inside. Distributive property. Then the goal is to have the variables on the same side of the equation and then the constants on the other side of the equation. So I'm going to start with subtracting the 10 to move up the constant. Bring down 2x equals 5x minus 45. Same sign, add the numbers, keep the sign. Then subtract the 5x in order to move it to the left. Negative 3x will equal negative 45. Bring down that constant. Negative 3x is multiplication. Division would be inverse operation, so divide by negative 3 both sides. Negative divided by negative is positive, and that would be 15, the value of the variable.